Welcome to Disruption Dialogues Podcast Season 2. Listen to the influential leaders and trailblazers from around the world as they share invaluable insights to navigating the fifth industrial revolution.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Disruption Dialogues. I'm your host, Katyayan Gupta, Vice President and Advisory Head for Technology Sector at Markets and Markets.
Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Rakesh Raju, who is the GCC Practice Leader at Torry Harris Integration Solutions,
A specialist boutique provider of GCC services and global IT powerhouse with over 2 decades of rich experience developing solutions for Fortune 500 companies. My guest today, Rakesh, is a seasoned technology leader with deep expertise in setting up and scaling global capability centers, particularly across telecom, BFSI, and energy sectors. Rakesh, I thank you so much for joining us for this session, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Katyayan, first of all, thanks a lot. I'm really excited to be talking to you. So briefly about me, I'm Rakesh Raju, been in IT consulting for about 2 decades now. I'm associated with Torry Harris for about 8 years, and currently I head the GCC practice at Torry Harris. And speaking a little bit about Torry Harris, see, we are a global technology service provider with over 25 years of industry expertise. In GCC space, we are a specialist boutique provider of services. Now, think of us as a go-to partner for highly skilled digital talent, but without the overwhelm of large providers. We work closely with customers to build small focused teams or digital pods that can hit the ground running. So that's us in a nutshell. And once again, Katyayan, it's really a pleasure talking to you today. And I'm excited to see how it goes. Yeah.
Lovely. So Rakesh, welcome. It's great to have you with us. So today we are here to talk about the Platform Playbook, right? So how technology, talent, and transformation is evolving GCCs from just broad service delivery hubs to specialized AI-powered platform-driven engines of innovation and growth for their parent organization. So it's no longer about cost savings, it's about innovation, it's about new revenue streams. So let's straight off dive into the discussion. Just for our listeners, we have also co-developed a detailed white paper with Torry Harris that explores many of the shifts that we're going to talk about today. It's packed with insights and it's available for download for free. And we will definitely, across this podcast, we will be referencing few key takeaways during our conversation today. So Rakesh, let's start with the big picture, right? How would you describe the evolution of GCCs over the last few years? And what's really driving the shift towards platform ownership and AI-led transformation?
Absolutely. Katyayan, if we rewind by just say 5 or 6 years, GCCs were still seen as the back office engines. But fast forward to today, you'll notice a lot of change. They're driving strategy and growth narratives. And here's the thing: it's not just about cost, scale, or headcount anymore. It's about specialized capability built into modular and composable teams that respond faster to change and collaborate more fluidly with partners, to equip the business ecosystem play. Now, we are seeing this big shift. That is, GCC are driving towards 2 key foundational initiatives, if I say so. So one is platformization, where turning capabilities into scalable, reusable digital platforms that can serve multiple users, products, and services. That is one. Second is productization, where GCCs are packaging their internal tools and services into structured, market-ready products, with defined value, features, and outcomes. GCCs are not just delivering services anymore, if you ask me. They're also building AI-powered transformation into repeatable, scalable capability. You would, have already seen GCCs that are, productizing what used to be internal tools and turning them into SaaS-based solutions with revenue potentials, right? Now, there are 3 primary things which are driving this shift or fueling this shift. One is, proven and mature next-gen tech to do things faster, cheaper, and better at scale. Now, like AI, cloud, low-code, and no-code platforms are greatly used here. Second is, using GCCs to build digital foundation blocks of platforms that allows partners, developers, and customers to build on top of it and to co-create solutions which will, make really powerful business differentiators. And finally, the third one is the deep and specialized tech talent that is available at a lower cost compared to anywhere else in emerging hubs across India. Now, I believe these are the factors that are really, driving, how the role of GCCs across.
Very interesting, Rakesh. So your point on platformization and productization is really, really strong. Let's break it down one by one. So let's pick up platformization. So when we say a platform playbook, what does that really mean in context of a GCC? So perhaps can you give us a sense of the building blocks, not just from a technology point of view, but all the way to operating models? How does a modern GCC gets defined by it?
Okay, great one. And I'm glad you used the word playbook here because it's not just tech stack, it's also the mindset to meet the new and evolve business outcomes. Now, when we say platform play, we are talking about creating a foundation that is repeatable, scalable, and monetizable. Now, a true platform-led GCC thinks like a product company, with open APIs, developer self-service portals, shared reusable components and services, data as asset, and AI-infused orchestrations. Now, GCCs are deploying these to manage ecosystems and drive innovation, right? And some of the core building blocks, that I could think of are internal developer platforms, reusable digital assets, a DevOps pipeline with AI injected intelligence and outcome based governance. Now, even some of the brownfield GCCs, are actually transforming and building internal digital marketplaces. And these platforms reduce procurement time, speed up the feature rollout, and open up newer revenue opportunities for the GCCs.
Very interesting. So, it seems AI is definitely at the heart of everything that we're talking about, right? So the modern GCC is defined by AI. And you also touched upon productization earlier, right? So let's look at productization from an angle of AI and automation. So, what I understand from your conversation up until now is that AI specifically will kind of become the backbone of scalable GCC operations. But how is AI getting embedded into other softer aspects of GCC operations like governance, workflows, and even decision-making models? So beyond the just the core technology part, how is it getting embedded into day-to-day functionality of GCCs?
Well, this is where things are really getting exciting, and honestly, we all know that AI is the future. However, I also think the value from AI won't come from sweeping instant disruption, but from very focused and deliberate identification of key areas to get maximum ROI, right? See, the ROI from AI that I have seen is usually in the longer term, where we build the right systems, skill up people, and build the structures necessary that apply AI at scale. Now, AI can play a transformative role both in platforms and products across tech, governance, workflows, and in decision-making models, as you rightly said. But what I feel is once the GCCs identify the AI use cases with properly defined ROIs, and go on to build small focused task force in driving the initiatives, that is where I strongly believe they will start, seeing a stronger ROI for the case studies. Now, let me give you a few examples of, where we are using AI and automation for our clients. One is enabling smarter platforms, tailoring experiences for future tech, enriching APIs with usage patterns, and matching demand and supply dynamically. Second one is basically where we use data for insights. Generate insights based on data patterns. For example, insight engine for financial institutions. Similarly, another one would be where we have built custom AI frameworks. We call it SDLC.ai and Ops.ai, which can be used to automate high-performing service workflows into templates. Basically, we are templatizing things using AI. Next is self-evolving, functional blocks for products that learn from real-world usage. Primary idea here is to improve functionality without actually any manual interventions. All right. Having said all this, I still believe we are at a nascent phase, and many companies are struggling to get their footing right, and to understand when or where the ROI is actually going to come from. So my recommendation is always to start at a point where we first clearly define the AI use case playbook. If we get it right, we're still in play. and we build on top of that.
Interesting. So a lot of things about, this marketplace, about AI, about automation, and the fact that identifying the right use cases, all of this is eventually still tied to the human element of it, right? So if we just change a little bit of gear, how can GCCs then transform if they don't have the right talent? So in your in your view of the market, what are the big shifts that you're seeing in how new talent is getting, say, sourced, upskilled, trained, developed within these GCCs? And what is the culture of now a new or a modern GCC looking like?
Yeah. Well, you know this, Katya, and tech alone won't make GCCs future ready, but it's actually the talent and the culture, right? We are seeing a massive shift, you know, in many areas. One is, from volume hiring to value hiring. It's no more about how many people I hire. It's mostly about the kind of skill set that I need for the team. I can give an example, for a client of ours, where they prefer to have about 100, odd members managing their operations. Today, we're just building a team of about 10 to 20 SRE engineers who manage the entire stack. So it's more about the value that the person brings to the team. Second is, from roles to skills. It's no more about roles. It's more about the kind of skill set that a person can bring on the table. And finally, moving away from service delivery to product ownership. It's more about, owning the product than just, coming there and developing a feature and moving on. So these are some of the, really massive shifts that we've been seeing in the last few years. Now, I think GCCs are also beginning to look more like startups inside the enterprises, right? They're building multidisciplinary, small, focused pods, investing in AI native learning journeys and co-creating programs with actually academias and edtech platforms as well. And also one of the biggest cultural shift is moving away from a delivery mindset to product mindset, right? Teams now own outcomes, either within the GCC or with the partner teams they choose to work with. They're not just building features, they're building values. And the culture itself rewards experimentation, failure, and iteration. And that's exactly what platform thinking demands, right? And also in the choice of partners as well, parent organizations are increasingly opting for mid to small specialized partners over large general purpose providers. Now, seeking cultural alignment, great work ethic, and agility that fosters deeper collaboration and innovation. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. I think your point about, having rather than volume hiring, having value hiring, focusing on skills, that is becoming very, very important because even in our line of work, when we talk to clients, and specifically I've been speaking to a lot of clients in this area, they're talking about, the hybrid of, it's not about hybrid workplace, it's about hybrid of humans and AI. So you really do not need a too big team. You will have, agents and AIs and systems to augment what humans bring to the table. So really, it's about the value. And I think the last part about that you touched on, which is about the product thinking. That product thinking can only come when you have the right talent, right? It will require hiring some of it, but also a lot of training internally will be required. And lastly, what you touched upon is something that we are also seeing in our conversations in the market, that some of the bigger organizations are going for more agile partners, which means they are going for the mid-tier and startups and smaller companies who are always available, who are always there with the client, working in partnership, and like you correctly said, in a startup mode, right? Fail fast sort of a theory. Well, that's very interesting. So, Rakesh, do you mind sharing? So, you've touched upon a couple of your, experiences from the marketplace. But would you be okay, shedding light on one or two of your case studies that you've done for some of your clients, and specifically where all the principles that we've spoken about in terms of platformization, in terms of productization, you can just shed some light on that.
Well, absolutely. This is really close to my heart. Uh, Torry Harris is often selected as a preferred transformation partner because of her size, focus, and tech specialization that we bring to play. Now, I'll give you an example here. Now, we worked with this large telco provider GCC that wanted to move from fragmented OSS BSS systems to a unified digital fabric and to do it with speed. Now, here's what we did in a nutshell. We re-architected their legacy stack into microservice-based platform, introduced AI-powered analytics engine for real-time fault prediction, built a digital service marketplace that cut procurement costs by 40%. Now, but here is a real win. Their GCC stopped being, just a delivery arm. It became a commercial enabler, a business creator. Now, what's the ripple effect? Their parent company is now exploring, monetizing their platform across markets. And this for me is what is in true sense the platform playbook. Now, similarly, we've worked very closely with energy and BFSI clients in reducing the tech debt, increasing productivity, and lowering time to market for their products. So there are many such instances, but given that we have limited time, I just gave an example of one of the transformations which I was closely involved in.
Very interesting. So, interesting you picked out telco because my background is in telco and it's also very close to my heart. Very interesting that, the case that you're sharing about your client. So it's not just about, so perhaps a traditional GCC would have just helped in cost reduction, up to the point where you can, kind of convert it to microservices, increase productivity. But then that's where the modern GCC comes into picture, right? Where you're taking that, you're monetizing it now. You're doing that entire journey, taking something which is internal and making it client facing, which is also something that adds back to the parent organization, right? Very, very interesting case. So, just in terms of, the challenges. So we've spoken about the good path, but I'm sure there are going to be some challenges. So in your experience, what are some of the recurring challenges when you're helping enterprises along their GCC journey?
Well, Katyan, since you're from telco background, any transformation, it's a real battlefield. Everybody loves transformation until it requires changing what they control, right? Now, some of the most common blockers that I've seen in my experience is one is legacy lock-in, where systems cannot talk to each other because of the legacy pileup. Decision paralysis, unclear about ROIs. Now, as I said in one of the previous examples, without actually having a clearer AI use case, you cannot really jump in and do it all and expect an ROI end of the day, right? Next is talent burnout, especially in hybrid teams, where the teams are focused on building multiple features, working across geographies. I've seen it becomes a little overwhelming for the team and they get burnt out if the plan is not set out straight right at the start. And perhaps one of the most overlooked challenges is also GCCs not having enough ownership, right? Now here, my advice is always to start small, scale fast, maybe pick 2 or 3 business-backed AI use cases with clear KPIs to work on. Next is, focus on building local empowerment and co-innovation, right? Give the GCCs the autonomy to experiment, work with small specialized partner, companies that complement the capability of the GCC and bring the same business mindset that is required for the organization. And of course, please don't wait for perfect alignment. There's nothing called perfect alignment when it comes to transformation. Transformation is more about momentum than precision. So, think of your GCC as a venture studio inside your enterprise. You got to treat it like one, fund it like one, and protect it like one.
Very interesting. So, momentum trumps precision. So that's a very strong statement. And interestingly, just last week, I was having a discussion with one of the GCC leaders here in India, and they exactly pointed out something that you're saying. So the decision-making power is limited at best. And so the way they're working is they've identified certain easy wins and they're taking back, and they've done this for the past couple of months, and they've taken that story back to the HQ, and they're starting to get far more greater autonomy and far greater budgets. So that's probably the way to kind of show back to the parent organization that the value that you can create is far more than just the internal productivity or efficiency gains. So thanks for sharing that. So Rakesh, I'll come to the last question. We've had a fabulous discussion up until now. How do you see? So I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's do some crystal balling. What are the top trends that you see in terms of GCC evolution over the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, this is the part that I'm excited about for sure. I got no crystal ball, but let me still try and see what I can come up with. I think the first one is where GCCs are embracing the ecosystem advantage, right? Where global capability centers are evolving from being a standalone unit into an ecosystem-driven hub, aligning with what is required from the parent organization, and also collaborating with specialized partnerships to achieve the end goal. Second would be to build composable platforms. Now GCCs will design API first plug and play modules that can be monetized and reused across enterprise. Uh, Thirdly, AI native. We touched on this. Not just using AI, but built around AI. From Gen AI, co-pilots to AI ops to agentic AI, we are going to see that all. Lastly, virtual and physical hybrid GCCs. Now think about it. Bangalore, Bucharest, and cloud. You'll see distributed teams working in sync, with digital twins, real-time dashboards, co-pilot-led engineering workflows across geographies and across workplaces. Now, in short, the GCC of tomorrow, is not just a destination; it's platform of possibilities. And for me, it is important for leaders, to start preparing their GCC strategies, keeping the future in mind.
Very interesting. So, Rakesh, a lot of great thoughts. I specifically like the hybrid component of it. So you're saying then the actual lines between physical destinations are going to completely blur out. So whether you're in Bangalore, Bucharest, or even say in Mexico, doesn't matter because the technologies will enable you to work as one team, and that will definitely unlock a lot of superpower. But
Yeah.
Rakesh, thank you so much for sharing your insights. Couple of things did stick with me. So first of all, your platformization and productization concept, it's great. The second thing about momentum trumps precision, fabulous. Third, which probably the world already knows, but it's still strong, AI native GCCs. And lastly, your thought about how do you think about GCCs, considering them as a venture studio, as a startup within your parent organization, that's a very, very powerful way to look at GCCs. And once you have that sort of a lens, your entire mindset shifts. So, Rakesh, that was a fabulous discussion. Thank you so much for that, for sharing your insights, your experiences with us. And it's, with this discussion, I think it's very clear that GCCs are no longer back office extensions. Like you very clearly pointed out, they're becoming the critical drivers of innovation and value. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. This was another fabulous episode of Disruption Dialogue. Stay connected with us for more conversations with leaders shaping the future of enterprise transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katya. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to know how you can navigate and thrive in this disruptive era, subscribe to Disruption Dialogues on your go-to podcast channels and stay tuned for more interesting episodes.